Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for joining us on this webinar Wednesday, presented by us here at XCalTech. Today's focus topic will be Voice over Internet Protocol, or better known as VoIP. Let's jump right into it. A bit of housekeeping rules really quickly before we start the presentation. Please just mute yourself when you're not speaking. Keep that background noise to a minimum. You could use the chat to ask questions, and we do encourage you to ask questions. So if there are any attendees that have any questions, there's a little raise your hand button, and of course we can see the chat on our end. So please do not hesitate to ask questions when need be. We're here to answer them. A little bit about XCalTech. We are a white glove managed IT service provider, meaning any aspect of IT, we could really help your business situate with the right solution. 29 years in business, 800 plus clients from across Chicagoland and Milwaukee land, and a little bit of Northwest Indiana as well, based out of Lake Barrington. We have 50 employees, mostly comprised of our technical support staff, level 1, 2, 3, and 4 engineers. They comprise about 40 to 45 of our employees. We are an extension of your IT team. We would love to be your IT people, of course, and we're a Microsoft partner, cloud service provider. We operate and maintain our own SOC2 compliant data center in Kenosha and Milwaukee for all your backup data needs. And we do offer 24/7, 365 monitoring and support. I am your fearless host, Brian Kantz. I'm a technology sales consultant here at XCalTech. I'm flanked today by Eric Kantz. Full disclaimer, he is my brother. We do work together at XCalTech. He's also a technology sales consultant, here to provide a little more in-depth information on VoIP if necessary. Okay, so let's just jump into it. What is Voice over Internet Protocol? Before we break down the pros and cons, just to see what VoIP actually is and how it works. Simply put, it's an internet-based phone service. And your current system relies on an analog phone signal to transmit communication, whereas a VoIP sends digital signals over the internet. This function can be built into the phone or a traditional business, connected to an analog terminal, or can be connected to a cloud. Let's talk about why VoIP is increasingly popular.
I'll handle this one, Brian. It's popular. The reason why it's popular is obviously because of ease of use, ease of deployment, and frankly, it costs a lot less money than your standard traditional phone system. So just to break it down simply, it's just easier to use and it's more cost efficient. When we're talking about the evolution of voice over IP, right? You could just talk about the history of phones. Everything from started with Alexander Graham Bell, and talking and from one cup to another cup through a string line, to your standard traditional phone lines, to digital phones, and finally to VoIP. So we're essentially just calling over the internet. It's simple to use. Most of the businesses that we work with do operate on a VoIP protocol, so they do have a VoIP system integrated into their communications, and we'll get into it on the next slide. Go ahead, Brian.
Now we're going to get into traditional VoIP or a cloud VoIP, the differences of them and some of the pros and cons. Traditional VoIP would suggest that you have hardware on site at your business that kind of is the centric point of your VoIP phone system. The drawback of a traditional VoIP is actually the physical aspect of it itself. You got to have hardware on site, the maintenance for that hardware, the upkeep, the updates, so on and so forth. It gives you the freedom to use voice over internet protocol, but you do have a central point of that VoIP most likely in your data closet. A cloud VoIP is a voice over internet protocol that, just as it suggests, it's controlled over the cloud. There's no physical aspect of the cloud. The main drawback of a cloud voice over internet protocol system is simply internet connection. It's dependent on it. If you have, you're not going to lose, if you do lose your internet connection, that does not mean that you lose all your data. It doesn't mean that your data will be compromised. There are backup solutions that are put into place and built into the cloud VoIP, but it is dependent, and it is a consideration depending on where your business is located and how strong your internet connection is, and if you want to rely on that option. Eric, do you have anything else to add about traditional or cloud VoIP?
When we're talking about freedom, we're talking about mobility. One of the things I like to touch on with our clients here at XCal Tech is that traditionally with most VoIP solutions, you do get an added soft phone feature onto your cell phone. So you could be anywhere in the world and click on the soft phone app via your phone, and you're basically logging in to your company's phone network. And you could call anyone in your business contacts through your personal or through your work phone, and we'll call through your work number. So that's where the mobility aspect comes into play. Anywhere in the world, you can be in China, and the rest of your team could be here in the States, and you could call through your work phone while you're in China through your cell phone. Again, we're just covering the very, very light basics of what VoIP is and how you guys could use it. But that freedom, that mobility aspect of being able to be anywhere in the world and call through your own phone, through your business's phone system instead of using your own personal phone number is a advantage a lot of our clients like and are comfortable with, because a lot of people don't want to give out their personal cell phones when they're making business calls. Create that that barrier of personal and professional life. So that's when we're talking about freedom and mobility.
Let's get into some of the pros of VoIP advantages. Deployment, absolutely, as we spoke about, if you could deploy your your voice over internet protocol almost anywhere with a cloud-based VoIP. Like Eric just mentioned, doesn't matter if you're on the other side of the world, as long as you have access to an internet connection, you could deploy.
Hold on, let me expand on that. You could, if you're transferring from one phone system to another VoIP solution, you could port all of your phone numbers at once. It's not a long process. It typically only takes about a day. There are some windows that you would have to plan with us about, when exactly the timing would be. But when you're actually talking about porting all of your current phone numbers onto another system, it's very quick, it's very seamless, it's very easy. And you get to keep all of your phone numbers as well. You don't have to get new phone numbers like you would have had to back in the day. I'll just cover the rest of this slide. So when we're talking about cost savings, traditionally you're going to save a ton of money. You're paying per user most of the time for a VoIP system, as opposed to back in the day, and some of you guys might be familiar, like with these old Cisco phone systems that cost an arm and a leg, and we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars for even like a 20-person company, not even a company that large, to put in the infrastructure to run those phone lines and to keep the infrastructure secure within those lines, and have the support contracts on them. It's just an arm and a leg. So with VoIP, there's no actual infrastructure you need to install. It's just over your computer, and it costs a lot less money. If it was like a $20,000 contract you had with Cisco, it could be anywhere from, I don't know, like $300-400 to $1,000 with a VoIP system, or cheaper. In terms of managing the VoIP system, if you're working with an IT partner, they will help you manage the system to your company's needs. Like, for example, creating phone trees. Like if, let's just say you had a customer call in and you couldn't answer it personally, you could set up a phone tree where if you weren't able to answer your call, it wouldn't go to voicemail. It would just go to the next person on the tree. And if that person couldn't answer, it could go to the next person on the tree, and then eventually maybe a general voicemail. So the ease of management of most of these VoIP systems are far and away the better option, as opposed to dealing with traditional PBX phone system. So go ahead, Brian.
VoIP providers, who do I choose? It's a good question. We do work with a couple of preferred, very reputable VoIP providers here at XCal Tech, including Jive, which is our LogMeIn, and Ring Central. They're both one of the larger partners for VoIP that exist out there in the world. We're excited to partner with them, and engineers here, our technical engineers, are not only trained, but they're certified in dealing with issues with both Jive, LogMeIn, and Ring Central. Those are our preferred providers. That doesn't mean there aren't other good providers out there that we wouldn't work with. We would consider it, of course. Those are the two main providers.
So we're at XL Tech. We're big on suggesting, or I guess, big on selling the same solutions that we internally use ourselves. So Brian, you can go to the next slide too. We utilize Jive/GoTo. I'm sure many of you are familiar with GoToMeeting. That's a popular application, and those two companies merged. I think it was last year. So there's a lot of added functions or merged functions that Jive has now, where you can actually run a GoToMeeting through Jive. So instead of using Zoom, which has it's not all Zoom isn't the end all be all in terms of video conferencing. Jive is actually more of our preferred platform for video conferencing due to voice communication and the clear communication that comes through the computer. We're big on selling the same solutions that we internally use ourselves. And over the last year and a half since we've started with Jive, things have been seamless. Not too many issues have come up. Every now and then we have to reset a password here and there, but overall, there's so many great features that Jive has. Again, the auto attendant, you could record calls if you want. You could create custom hold music. I guess modify the extensions that you yourself are calling from. So if you had two phone numbers that you're calling from, like just say you had a phone number that you want your prospects or customers or clients to know you're calling from Chicago, you could create an extension that would say on their caller ID you're calling from Chicago. Same thing, you could have an option to say, hey, you want the customer to know you're calling from Florida. You could create an extension that says, hey, this person is calling from Florida on the just with the click of a button. So there's a lot of great features. But again, it's all about what matters to your business. So one of the features that many of our clients like, and is pretty standard on most phone systems, is when you get a voicemail, that there's that voicemail, the text option. So every time that someone leaves you a voicemail, you get an email with the text all laid out for you, so you don't have to listen to it directly. So it's always good to know. So even if you want screen calls for some pesky salesman who keeps calling you trying to sell you a new VoIP solution, you'll know exactly what they're selling you when you get that email.
I think another point that we would be remiss not to mention when it comes to key features is the CRM integration. You could integrate your VoIP with your Salesforce, your Microsoft Dynamics, or whatever CRM or software. There's a lot of applications with software with your VoIP. If you have operate a large call center, you could consolidate your analytics. That's always a benefit of VoIP. And as you can see from our slide here, there's a large number of features. Too many to list, but absolutely enough features to whet your beak if you're looking for something in particular out of your VoIP system. Features continued. I guess that's just what we just were. A VoIP system should include all features and the ability for your phone system to be agile. That's really the name of the game with a VoIP system, the autonomy to communicate freely and under one central control with your phone system. Quickly make configurations to keep you ahead of global issues, competition, and provide business continuity.
That's really what you're looking for in most IT solutions, business continuity, right? The last thing that you guys want, last thing that we want is any disruption in your business. So that's where the flexibility and mobility of a VoIP solution comes into play, right? If, again, like we talked about the soft phone feature before, if you're somewhere not near your office, you could be anywhere in the world and still make a call, a business call from China or from Europe or from Mexico. When you go on your own company trip, you can make a call directly from your soft phone app. So again, that flexibility, mobility, and that lack of disruption in your day-to-day business. So on this slide, like we had mentioned before, we actually, I wish we had a screenshot here, but Jive is integrated with GoToMeeting, right? Which is what we just talked about, where you could create GoToMeetings through your Jive app. They could have up to 250 meeting participants as one-click screen sharing. We're actually running this webinar through GoToMeeting and through our Jive app, which is pretty cool. So yeah, there we go. Go ahead, Brian. Additional features. So most VoIP providers, they have plugins with the popular apps, Microsoft Teams, G Suite, Salesforce. There's a HubSpot app right there. So whatever CRM you guys use, and we would imagine most most, if not all, of our clients are on M365. That integrates through the VoIP systems that at least we provide, and most of the systems that are on the market. There's some app integration.
All right. Well, this was short and sweet. As we mentioned, this is supposed to be just a general overview of voice over internet protocol. We hope that you learned something today. If you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to Eric or myself.
I know we have someone else on this call. Are there any questions from anybody on the webinar right now that we could help answer? You could type in the chat, or you could we can unmute you. Okay, well, Kevin, I know you're the only one left on this call. If there's any questions, then you could reach out to John or Todd. I know you guys do a lot of work with us, so if you want to reach out to them, they could help answer any VoIP questions that you might have. Again, this is Brian's information. Feel free to give him a call at any time, and thank you very much. Have a great day.